What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Top 1000 in the Classic. And we're starting off here on Val-Des-Bois with a really nice looking roe deer buck. That one is not him, I believe it's this one instead. So we can get a spot on him, yep. 205 to 235. So definitely it's a 200 plus, which would be awesome. I think it's this one here at the front. It should be anyway. Let's see if we can spot him. Yes, it is. So we'll take him and let's see. That one should also be pretty decent. Missed the first shot. Let's see if we can get another follow-up on it. And yes, we can drop that one. Maybe we can even get a third. Probably not. It doesn't really matter anyway. They're kind of small. But it is running in a perfectly straight line here. So that should have hit, and that means it will actually drop. And it just did. So it did actually get free at the end there. Pretty nice, but of course the main one is the big guy here at the very front. I am looking forward to seeing what kind of score we have here. At least a 200 plus, so that's definitely going to be pretty nice. Gonna grab it on the rocks here and let's see. 228.8751. Honestly, pretty nice, and I will actually tax that, I do believe. So yeah, we'll put that as a skull mount, trying to collect some of those. And the reason I collected him on the rocks here is so we can get a trophy shot. Maybe we can line up something pretty decent here. But yeah, I do hope I can talk better in this video than compared to the last one. I've had my sutures taken out of my mouth, so it feels like I can talk better anyway. So hopefully it actually translates to the video too. And I think we can take a trophy shot like this. Looks pretty decent. I do quite like roe deer bucks. They're kinda like the antlers might not be the largest. Actually I feel like they're pretty much the smallest out of like most antler species in classic. If not actually the smallest. I I'm not sure, I think they are. But yeah, anyway, I do quite like how they look. They kinda look like the classic deer to me. No pun intended. Well, let's look at this guy right there. The second biggest one of the batch, and that one is a nice square off. 155. So definitely a lot smaller, but a really nice buck to start with, and a decent one as well. Won't show you guys the third one. That one was disappointingly small, so whatever about that. Now from one of the smallest antlered species, or I guess antlers, to one of the biggest, RT with a red deer stack, 205 to 250, so again a 200 plus at minimum. Now I would like to get like a 250 plus for the lodge, so that one, if it makes like 240, I'll probably tax it. But it doesn't have the absolute best square estimate, but you can't always hope to get monsters, so we'll try and take this guy for the recurve. It's lining up perfectly here, and pretty much went probably straight for the entire body there. Lungs, intestines, all of that. I don't see anything else going around. Always gotta make sure when you're only using a bow and arrow and calling stuff in all the time that you're not accidentally spooking stuff. That's still a bit further away. But let's take a look. This guy, 205 kilograms, and the score, 219. Not a bad red deer whatsoever. Of course, not the biggest ones out there. Definitely didn't have the biggest frame, but still a pretty good looking guy. And a nice contrast to the roe deer buck we had before. Now we have a species that doesn't have any antlers at all. This red fox coming in. Though it has probably the best score estimate of all the animals we've had so far, like comparatively where they would score on the leaderboard if they were maxed out. 54 would probably be number one, and if not, definitely my personal best. Let's take a look, and a shot with the rifle here. Rob did an instrax. I didn't want to use the recurve for it because red foxes do tend to spook even if I'm get 20-25 meters away. They'd find you pretty fast, and I need to take a second with the recurve to actually aim. So didn't want to risk spooking it and having to track this guy down for the entire river. So rifle it is. I do see something up there. Not sure what that is, but it's something. But let's take a look at that red fox. Not the best weight here, unfortunately, in the score, 29.85. That is a really good score. Don't get me wrong, and 112 GM as well. That is pretty good, but I don't think I will tax it. I'm actually at this second looking up what a top 100 score would be, like on the leaderboard. I was like, well, if it scores top 100, I'll still tags it, make a skull mount out of it. Though it unfortunately did not, you would need like 30 something, and I will just start taxing at 30 something for the lodge. Of course, I can get a skull mount of every animal right now. And yeah, definitely still though, a great fox. Absolutely, probably like a fox that you won't get even every hunt or even like every other hunt. Definitely nice. I'm happy about that and we'll take it. Now we're on the Val-Des-Bois, of course, so the rain is mandatory here every now and then. I've tried my best to avoid like recording whenever it's raining, trying to take my time, but that guy is so close, there is no waiting. Up to 240 this one, definitely looking good though. So it's like a shot of the recurve. Should have been a double lung, maybe like a lung, liver, intestine. I guess we'll see in just a second there, but it looks better than the last red we've had, even though the score estimate is smaller, but you know, the estimate is everything. In the end, it is just an estimate. So let's actually see the final amount of the score, 218.9, which I think is like half a score lower than the previous one we had, so it might have looked a little bit bigger to me, but it wasn't. They were just pretty much exactly the same size. Maybe the frame was bigger. Who knows? Still a nice deer though. Now we have a nice assortment of brown bears up over here on this little island. The first one over here should be a female, and it is, so not too interested in that. And the back one I hadn't even seen so far, so we'll spot this guy. Also just a female, I guess this girl then. And this one then should be the male. I hope so anyway. Yep, 2226, 342, 420 kilograms. We'll hopefully be able to take at least 2 bears. I do want more than one anyway. If I'm shooting a rifle, might as well shoot it a couple of times. Everything will spook anyway. But that guy's not making it easy there. Standing pretty much the worst way that he could stand. And I actually do see something like off in the distance. There's some red deer, I believe. Let's take a look at if that guy's any decent, and he's not. Don't even have to spot him. That one was not gonna be anything crazy. And yep, there is something trotting in. Oh, that's just a female roe deer. Not really interested in that. Got the nice amount of brown bears, and yeah, that guy not gonna be a giant. So this one should be the good looking one. So let's take a look and see if we can shoot him right in the lungs. I believe that should have been a lung shot right there. And the other one was kind of stuck there on the rock, so hopefully it slows down and we can take another shot at it and actually get the multiple I was talking about. I think that looks good enough. Nope, it's going broadside and dropped it perfectly. That might have snuck into the heart down there at the legs, or might have been a lung shot. I'm not sure, but for now we'll go grab that male over there. Now in classic Val-Des-Bois fashion, we do have rain again. Though this time we're only here to collect the brown bear really quick, so let's make this quick and painless. Take the bear, 345 kilograms, that's a low weight estimate, or a low weight for the estimate there. Though the score, 24 point pretty much 5, that one was actually not that low. Definitely closer to 26 than 22, so happy enough with that. That is the best brown bear I've had so far. Because honestly, I've had not much luck with like any big animals since the roe deer. Like I've had a few decent red deer, which you've seen, but nothing too crazy, sadly. Now, something that's actually on my bucket list for 2025 is getting the cross and the great variation red fox in a decent score. Now, that one sadly is a female. However, the score estimate has the potential to go up there, as well as they in general can still go as high as I want them. Had to quickly take a shot there, it spotted us. And I feel like there was something else behind me, but doesn't really matter. There's another small red deer over there. I really have had not that much luck. You've seen the best 2 red deer I've had in the entire like time hunting on here, so nothing too crazy, which is a little unfortunate. Plus, take a look at this one. I think that's the gray version, and yes, it is. 16.68, so sadly not good enough for me to tags it, but I do want like a 25, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher, depending on what we can find. But of course, those would have to be like a full mount, like actual taxidermy, not just a skull. Because, well, if it's just a skull, you can't really tell that well if there are like the cross or gray variation or whatever it is. But yeah, I do want to grab those. Those are definitely on the to-do list. We are going to be ending today's episode on rank 1797, which means we've gained 16 ranks, as well as a hunter score of 26,516, which means we've gained 126 hunter score. And nice little goal here achieved, reaching the 1700s. Only 798 ranks left to grab, I guess. Not too bad, definitely a successful hunt. Got a nice trophy in that road here, so thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and bye bye.